The Young and the Restless spoilers Audra's secret, a love that could destroy everything. Genoa City thrives on secrets, and Audra Charles harbored one of the most explosive ones yet. The moment she laid eyes on Damian in the bustling crowd, her heart stopped. She had hoped their paths would never cross again, but fate had a cruel sense of timing. Damian wasn't just anyone from her past, he was her ex-lover, the man who had once consumed her world. And now, with her current relationship with Nate Hastings hanging in the balance, his reappearance was nothing short of catastrophic. The hidden connection. Audra and Damian's relationship had been a whirlwind of passion and recklessness, a love affair that burned brightly but ended in ashes. They were drawn to each other's intensity, their shared hunger for power and control. But like most fiery relationships, theirs couldn't last. Their breakup had been messy, leaving scars that neither was willing to acknowledge. For years, Audra had worked to bury that part of her past, carefully crafting an image of herself as poised, ambitious, and entirely independent. Meeting Nate had been a turning point, a chance to build something genuine with a man who truly believed in her. But Damian's unexpected arrival threatened to shatter the fragile foundation she had built. A forbidden reunion. After their chance encounter, Damian wasted no time in reigniting the flame of their shared history. Audra, desperate to keep her secrets hidden, agreed to meet him late at night after Nate had gone to sleep. In the dim glow of their clandestine meeting spot, the air between them was charged with unresolved tension. "I never thought I'd see you here," Damian said with a sly smile, his voice as smooth as ever. "Still playing the good girl, I see." Audra crossed her arms, her guard up. "What do you want, Damian? Why are you here?" "I could ask you the same thing," he replied, stepping closer. "But I think we both know the answer. We have unfinished business." Audra's heart raced, a mix of anger and fear coursing through her. She hated how Damian could still affect her, how he could peel away her defenses with just a few words. But she knew one thing for certain, she had to keep him from exposing their past. The plea for silence. Audra's desperation grew as Damian toyed with her. She begged him to keep their history a secret, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Damian, please. You can't say anything. Nate doesn't know about us, and he doesn't need to. It's in the past." Damian's smirk faded, replaced by a look of defiance. "Why should I keep quiet, Audra? We didn't do anything wrong. We loved each other. That's not a crime. But it would destroy what I have now." Audra snapped, her composure slipping. "Nate would never forgive me if he knew about everything. And why is that my problem?" Damian shot back, his tone icy. "You're the one living a lie, not me. Nate, the innocent victim in this tangled web of secrets. Nate was the unwitting victim. A kind and genuine man, he had opened his heart to Audra, believing in her potential and trusting her implicitly. Unbeknownst to him, the woman he loved was sneaking off in the dead of night to confront her past, a past that could unravel their entire relationship. Damian, however, had no interest in sparing Nate's feelings. In his mind, Nate represented everything he despised: honesty, decency, and the illusion of a perfect life. Damian wasn't just a ghost from Audra's past, he was a storm threatening to dismantle her present. Audra's fear. What haunted Audra most wasn't just the possibility of Nate finding out about her past with Damian, it was the fear of Damian himself. He wasn't a man known for his kindness or restraint. He thrived on chaos, and his presence in Genoa City was a ticking time bomb. Audra's mind raced as she tried to figure out Damian's motives. Was he here to win her back? To destroy her relationship with Nate out of spite? Or did he have a darker agenda, one that would leave everyone involved worse off? A dangerous game. As the days went on, Damian's presence loomed over Audra like a shadow. She tried to distance herself, to focus on her life with Nate, but Damian wasn't going anywhere. He continued to press her, taunting her with the possibility of revealing their secret. "Why are you so afraid, Audra?" Damian asked during one of their heated arguments. "Afraid Nate will see the real you?" "Because I already know who you are." Audra's voice cracked as she replied, "You don't know me anymore. I've changed. Damian's laughter was cold and sharp. People like us don't change. We just get better at hiding. A brewing storm. The tension reached its breaking point when Damian hinted that he might expose everything. Audra's worst fears were coming true, and she knew she was running out of time. Nate, oblivious to the storm brewing around him, continued to trust her, his love for her unwavering. But how much longer could Audra keep up the facade? And if Damian did reveal their past, would Nate forgive her, or walk away forever? The fallout to come. Damian's reappearance in Audra's life wasn't just a test of her ability to keep her secrets, it was a reckoning. As she scrambled to maintain her image and protect her relationship, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was slipping through her fingers. Damian, dangerous and unpredictable, was the embodiment of her past mistakes. Nate, kind and unsuspecting, was the hope for her future. But in Genoa City, secrets have a way of surfacing, and when they do, the fallout is never clean. For Audra, the question wasn't if her world would come crashing down, it was when. Nate's dilemma, love, secrets, and sacrifice. Genoa City was no stranger to secrets, and Audra Charles's past seemed to be a treasure trove of them. Her history with Damian had cast a shadow over her relationship with Nate Hastings, but there was another player in the story, Tucker McCall. Tucker, a man of keen insight and a penchant for discretion, knew far more about Audra's past than she would ever admit. Though he wasn't in Genoa City at the moment, his understanding of Audra's complex life could have sent ripples through her carefully managed facade. But Tucker chose silence, not out of loyalty, but because he saw nothing inherently wrong in what Audra had done. It wasn't Tucker's judgment that threatened Audra's current life, it was Nate, who unknowingly stumbled upon a hidden layer of her past. A conversation overheard one fateful evening, Nate found himself unintentionally eavesdropping on a phone conversation between Tucker and Audra. It wasn't his intention to pry, but as he passed by, the tone of their voices caught his attention. Hidden in the shadows, he listened as Tucker's calm, knowing voice spilled details about Audra's past. "You've always been ambitious, Audra," Tucker said. "Your relationships, your decisions, they were strategic. Damian, the others, they were just stepping stones, weren't they?" Audra's voice wavered slightly, betraying her nervousness. "I'm not proud of everything I've done, Tucker, but I don't regret it either. I had to do what I did to survive, to get where I am now." Tucker chuckled softly. "And now you're with Nate. Do you think he knows the full story? Or are you planning to keep him in the dark forever?" Audra's reply was sharp. "He doesn't need to know. What's in the past should stay there." Nate's heart sank as he absorbed the weight of their words. The mention of Damian and the implications of Audra's calculated past sent his mind reeling. He wasn't angry, yet. Instead, he felt a deep sense of hurt and confusion. Who was the woman he had fallen in love with? And how much of her life had she kept hidden from him? Nate's reaction. Despite his initial shock, Nate couldn't bring himself to confront Audra immediately. He spent the next few days wrestling with his emotions. Part of him wanted to demand answers, to hear the truth directly from her. But another part, the part that loved her deeply, hesitated. Was it worth dredging up the past if it meant jeopardizing their future? Audra, unaware that Nate had overheard her conversation with Tucker, noticed his growing distance. She couldn't pinpoint what was wrong, but the tension between them was palpable. "Nate, is everything okay?" she asked one evening, her eyes searching his for an answer. He forced a smile, masking his turmoil. "I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind." Audra nodded, though her instincts told her there was more to his words than he was letting on. A turning point. As days turned into weeks, Nate realized he couldn't carry the weight of his newfound knowledge in silence. His love for Audra was too strong to ignore, and he couldn't move forward without addressing the doubts clouding his mind. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, he took her hand in his and spoke with quiet resolve. "I need to ask you something, Audra," he began, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. "Your past, is there something you haven't told me? Something I should know?" Audra's heart skipped a beat. She had always feared this moment, the point where her carefully guarded secrets would surface. But she also knew that Nate deserved honesty, if she wanted a real future with him. "There are things I haven't told you," she admitted, her voice trembling. "Things I'm not proud of. My life before Genoa City was complicated, Nate. I made choices that I thought I had to make." Nate nodded, his gaze unwavering. "I overheard you talking to Tucker," he confessed. "I know about Damian, and that you've had other relationships that weren't exactly straightforward." Audra's breath caught. "Nate, He interrupted gently. "You don't have to explain everything right now. I just need to know one thing: do you love me? And are you being honest with me now?" Tears welled in Audra's eyes as she nodded. "I do love you, Nate. More than anything. And yes, I'm being honest now. I don't want to lose you." Choosing love, Nate took a deep breath, his own eyes misting with emotion. "Audra, we all have a past. I've made mistakes too. But what matters is who you are now and what we're building together. I'm not going to let your past define our future." Audra's relief was palpable. She threw her arms around Nate, clinging to him as if he were her lifeline. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for believing in me." Tucker's indifference. Meanwhile, Tucker remained indifferent to the turmoil his conversation with Audra had caused. To him, the idea of exposing her past to Nate had never been on the table. "What's the point?" he had mused to himself. "Everyone has skeletons. Hers just happened to be a little noisier." His silence wasn't out of kindness, but a simple lack of interest. Tucker saw Audra's journey as a natural progression of ambition, not a betrayal of trust. To him, her past was irrelevant, and if Nate had chosen to love her, then that was his decision to make. A fragile future. Though Nate's love for Audra prevailed, their relationship was left on shaky ground. Secrets, even when forgiven, have a way of leaving scars. Nate had chosen to trust her, to look beyond her past, but the shadow of Damian and Tucker's words lingered in his mind. For Audra, the challenge was clear: prove to Nate that her love for him was genuine and that her past was truly behind her. She had been given a second chance, and she was determined not to waste it. But in Genoa City, where secrets have a way of resurfacing, one can only wonder how long peace will last.